Good afternoon, students. Now we are busy with the third year of Design and Technology. And this PowerPoint will help you or give you an indication of what to expect in the April exams. Remember, the presentation is 60% of your exams, and you must also go through your assignments, which will give you a good indication of what to expect in the exams. So let me start. My name is Arenda Herman, and please don't call me just before you must write. You must already, when you finish here today with the presentation, I want you to go through everything. So if you don't understand anything, you please phone me. So let us start. Okay, Design and Technology for the April exams 2017. Number one is safety precautions. Now in the second year, you also did safety precautions. So this is just a repeat of what we did already. So safety precautions, it says, select the right tools for the right job, which means you must teach the children when you are in a design and technology classroom, when you're working with wood or you're working with paper, whatever you need to work with, you need to teach them how to correctly work with the tools, how to put them in a safe place, and what each tool is for, what is the job of each tool. Then the second one is you must never carry sharp tools in your pocket. Remember, these are children that we are working with. So your eyes must be open as a teacher, especially when you go out for practice teaching, and also later on when you are a teacher in your own class. The children must never put sharp tools in their pockets. They must never run with a sharp tool because they can fall and hurt themselves. Or when they are quarreling, there must never be sharp tools around them because they can fight or they can stab somebody with a sharp tool. So they must rather, when they finish with the sharp tools, they must put it away, and they must also know how to look after the sharp tool, and they must also know where to put it. And then the last one is they must never use hammers with a loose head. Now, why is this so important? If they work with a hammer and all of a sudden the head of the hammer falls out, it can go against a table and fly up and can hurt somebody seriously. And then they must also, if they find any hammer or any tool that is not in a proper working order, they must rather give it to you, and you will teach them how to fix the tool if it's possible, or how to put the tool in a sharp place until somebody else can fix it. So these are the safety precautions. The next one says electrical power tool. Now, when we work with electrical power tools, number one is, the first thing, very important, is you must disconnect the tools when they are not in use, which means when you put a tool into a plug, you must teach the children first, you must switch off so that the power can stop, but they must also unplug it. Otherwise, the electricity is still going through the circuit. So you must teach them why it is important to disconnect the tools. The second one is tools should be maintained with care. Now, what does that mean? Every tool, electrical tool or any other tool like a hammer, a chisel or anything, must be maintained with care. Maintained is how do you look after tools? Are you just throwing a tool on the floor and somebody else can fall over it? Do you just put it in a place where somebody can get hurt? So you must teach them the proper way of looking after tools, and you must also teach them how to keep the tools safe. Because if you don't teach them these things, your tools will get lost, they will get damaged, and they can also hurt somebody very seriously. The last one is you must avoid accidental starting of tools. Now, what does that mean? Like I said, a tool that is not unplugged from the circuit is very dangerous, because somebody can just switch it on by accident and then it can start and hurt somebody. So you must teach them that electrical tools are very dangerous, and if they don't take care of things, then you will not have it for a long time. So you must teach them proper rules about electrical tools. The next one is good practice. Now, what do we mean by good practice? We say parts should be properly stored and labeled. Now, when you work in your in your classroom, you must make an outline of every tool against your wall, so that the children know, if I take off the hammer, I can see the outline of the hammer. So if I'm finished, then I know the hammer goes to that place. That is why I said they must be properly stored and labeled. So if they take the tool from the wall, or they take it from a box, the name of the tool must be there, so that they can also learn how to spell that tool's name. Because if they don't see the name every time, at first they won't recognize the name, but the more they see the name of the tool, then without even looking at it, they will remember, oh, that is how you spell it. So then they will take better care of tools. The second one is use bins storing for small parts, which means you can put screws and small things that you are working with, and nails in things. You can put them into bins, but then you must also label the bins, so that they know, oh, this bin is only for nails, so I cannot put a screw in there. This bin is the label says screws, so I cannot put nails in there. So if you don't label it properly, then children don't know where to put things, and then things will lie all over. It will lie on the floor where they walk. It can lie on tables, it can fall off, it can break. So you must teach them a good practice of tools, of how to handle tools and how to store tools. Then the last one is you must make sure that workers have the tools they need. So if you say, today we are going to put in nails, don't let somebody come here with a screwdriver, because it is not the work of a screwdriver to put in a nail. They must know, for a nail I must use a hammer. That is why I said make sure that the workers, that is now the children in your class, have the tools they need. And remember, most of the time when they do design and technology at primary school, they can also go and do it at the high school, and later on they can also go to VTC, which is vocational schools, where they can also learn a skill like being a plumber or being a carpenter. So it is very important to give them a good knowledge and good practice, and also to teach them good lessons of how to handle tools. Because when we teach children things, it is not just for now, it is also for the future. So we must remember to teach them proper rules and things that will make sense to them, and also that they know it's for their own safety that they learn it. Now we go on to the next one. We are talking about different uses of aluminium. Now this is quite a long one. It has 2 slides. So I hope you will learn carefully and make notes while I'm going over them. Now, why is aluminium so important? Aluminium we can use for bicycle frame, and some children have bicycles. Most children don't have bicycles, but they need to learn all these things. A bicycle frame, why we use aluminium for a bicycle frame is it is a very light metal. We can also use it for pots, for cooking, And then for household utensils, because it can be, remember it is light, the metal is light, and it can easily bend into any shape. And then the third one is, the first one is bicycle frames. Now you can use it for pots for cooking. Remember, if the pot is not good, your mom can always take the pot out and take a hammer and hit the pot or a pan. That is why they make it from aluminium. And then the last one is aeroplane frames. They use, although the aeroplane is very big, they must use aluminium because it is, remember, it is the metal is light. It can be easily bent into shape, and it's very light, but it is also strong. Remember, if we think about the aeroplane, and we, for example, use iron, that is now a very strong metal, then the airplane cannot go up in the air because it's too heavy. But when we use aluminium, it can it's light, it can go up in the air, and it can also, when the airplane wants to turn to the back, to the left or the right, then the wings can also bend easily, and the whole airplane can turn, sorry. So that is why we use aluminium. Come, let's go on and see what else we can use aluminium for. Then, so you must just read up more on aluminium. You will see a lot of examples there. Now we come to the next one that says different kinds of wood. Now, why must we know anything about wood? Let us find out. When we talk about oak, now oak is a very hard wood, and the prominent rings, you will always see when they cut out a tree, it has rings on the inside of the wood. Now the rings will tell us how old, the prominent rings will tell us the texture of the wood. Is it a soft wood or is it a hard wood? And it will also tell us the age of the tree, if it's an old tree or is it a young tree. Now the first one the first one was oak, and the second one is mahogany. Now mahogany is also a type of wood. The way you get it you will get it in tropical forests, and it's also a tropical hardwood. So it's not just oak, but it's also mahogany. Mahogany we usually use for furniture. And then I said different kinds of woods continue, like mahogany. We are still talking about mahogany. Remember, the first thing we talked about was oak. Now we are busy with mahogany. Now mahogany comes from different parts of the country, different parts of the world. In the Caribbean, you get also mahogany that is now the hardest and the strongest, and the quality is very good when you make furniture. Then you also get it in the Philippines. That is now similar in color. It is also dark, but the mahogany, it is not so strong as the mahogany that is from the Caribbean. That is why I said it's not mahogany at all. It's just something cheaper, and it can also have much, and it is not the value is not so much, it is less in value, and when we look at the wood. But the one from the Caribbean is very strong, and it's also very expensive. Now what I want you also to learn for further study, I want you to go over how to handle bleeding and what to do when a child is bleeding in a class, the safety rules. And then I want you to go over safety first. Why is it important to teach children about safety, and why do you need to know anything about safety and what to do when a child is getting hurt? Remember, here we're working with tools, so anything at any time can happen, and you must know. If you as a teacher panic, automatically the children will panic. But if you know what to do, and you are calm, then the children say, oh, my teacher is in control. I don't have to be scared. My teacher knows what to do. But remember, if you are not there and something happened in the class, you must already teach them safety rules and first aid rules so that they know what to do. So when something happens in the design and technology class, or outside in another class, or outside on the playground, they also know what to do. They will not just panic. Especially when somebody stab another person, they must know to call an adult and not just solve the problem on their own. Because some of the things, when you teach them safety rules, you must teach them there are some things that you can do and some things that you need to call adults in. So they must know that I cannot just solve every problem. I can also call in help. And that is the end of my presentation. And I know in second year, there's a lot of drawings and mathematical theories that you must know. But in the third year, it's not so much. That is why I didn't put anything in like that. But please go over your assignment, like I said, and go over the presentation so that you can have a good idea of what to expect in the exams. And make sure that you have your pencil, your eraser, your ruler, and your sharpener with you. And please make sure that you don't borrow from people. You must have your own stuff, because remember, when a soldier goes to war, if he goes without his gun, he will be destroyed. So will you. So if you don't have all your stuff, then nobody will let you borrow there, because everybody is busy with his own questions. So make sure that you have everything. And if you call me 2 or 3 times and I don't answer, please send me an SMS with your answer and your name and from where you call, so that I can send you a text message back or I'll phone you back. And that is the end of my story. Thank you.